sharing their stories one after the other. Their stories will tell you how they have been able to chart their own career from school to where they are presently, and they would share some tips also on how that can be, how to manage your own career when you eventually leave school. Okay, I will start with I think the first person, if he's still here, Abiola, we can take your story first.
Okay.
Yeah. So
thank you, Babalola.
All right. Okay, go ahead, please.
Can you thank Babalola for setting this up, and also Dr. Agbede, who were all classmates back some few years ago, almost 20 years now, and it just shows how fast time flies. You know, I don't know how many people remember their ID number or their matric number. I think mine is 970351, if I remember correctly. And then yes, so just in terms of what one of the things I tell users, right?
Yep. So, sorry, Abiola, I think we are losing you a bit. Maybe you want to take off your video so that it's a bit more easier to hear. It's fading.
Okay, sorry. Oh.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just talking about the value of the theory. I mean, what you learn in the university is extremely important. I've had a very non-traditional career path in terms of how I've worked in the industry and what I've done. But in the roles I've done, I've found out that your ability to connect your theory to practice is very, very important. I mean, situations arise where you quickly have to think around what must have happened, what decision, and understanding the theory behind those events that you see is very, very critical. So my first charge to everyone is take your theory seriously. It's very, very important. And it will help you a long way, no matter where you find yourself in the industry. That's number one. Number two is that it's always very good to have an open mind around your learnings, even as you grow your career. It's not just about, oh, I'm a chemical engineer, I want to work in the oil industry. I think for many of us on this call today, maybe except one person, we didn't quite start out in a typical engineering or oil and gas firm, as it were. I started out, did 1 week or 2 weeks in KPMG, moved into a bank, and then from there, moved to the National Oil Company. But in those places, everything I learned in school always came into bear, because at a point I was assessing credit for industries, and then the value of that education and those things, understanding, being able to understand what the customer is doing became very important. And then that helped a lot. So having a long-term view of your career and where you want to go is very, very important. Again, networking, I won't understate that. It's very important. Most of the jobs I had gotten had always come from referrals. It's very interesting that there is no job I had gotten since I left school that I've gotten because I applied for it. It's always somebody applying on my behalf or referring me or doing a reference. And this is very, very important. Even as I grow in my career, is more of reference. Oh, we need somebody, and somebody says, oh, I know somebody who can do this job or who can solve this problem. So having that network ability is very important. And one thing I would recommend that has worked is that let your friends, your network, have your CV handy. So when I left school, I had a group of guys who had my CV and I had theirs. And anytime they see an opportunity, without even consulting me, they will just apply and invite to somebody network. It's both in the school side of your immediate environment or your zone is quite important. And it's important that I'm able to act. One of the learning I continue to over the that asks the right question, not just the right, being able to ask. Don't be afraid if you be open, bold, ask. If you don't know where to help, someone knows how to get the you write faster. Not just test people or people who are together to adopt that. And that means you other people's knowledge, ability, then yes, it's able to deliver at that time. Lifelong and to see the crop of people on this call. Everybody had moved on to learn from Laulu, who had gone ahead to have a PhD, even to Agbede, and people who have moved on to have go ahead and have additional degrees post school, and not just degrees. Learning is not just about degrees; it's also about learning new things. Even if it's a language, if it's a skill set, separate from engineering. For one, I try to develop myself around photography, just being able to learn those things. And those things have a way of coming together. They help you, they build you as a person, and they also help you as an individual. So I would say network, learn, and then have a positive mindset. And then don't take your theory as being useless. I mean, it is never useless. It's very important, and it helps you. Sets you apart. If you are somebody who's able to connect practice to theory quickly within your brain and then able to provide solution, both from a practical point of view and from a theoretical point of view, it stands you out anywhere and anytime. And in terms of my career trajectory, I've been able to work across different sectors, starting as in University of Jos, where I was an NYSC intern, but I was given the opportunity to teach a class. I was teaching chemistry, 200 level students, which many people felt was almost impossible. I mean, and then many of the students were probably almost my age mate. But the fact that I demonstrated the ability to handle that task, I was given, and then from there, I joined a bank where I was able to connect a lot of things, especially from the chemical engineering perspective, and then bring that into new things I'm learning about credit, learning about finance, and then moving on away from that, I joined the national oil company and then went back into engineering for a while. Then from there, I moved into a more commercial, broad management role, which I have been over the past years. But within that framework, I've gone ahead to do things around fiscal analysis, representation to government, to the National Assembly, working with the minister, and then over the last 5 years or 6 years, working with 3 GMDs of the National Oil Company. And in those roles, you are looking at every sector and everything connected to the business. But at the bedrock of that is still the chemical engineering knowledge and petroleum engineering that one had learned at the university. And so don't take it for granted that you are at the LAUTECH University of Technology. Don't take it for granted that you are at the Department of Chemical Engineering. There is a lot of value and a lot of opportunity, and everything you become is based on this network that you build, the questions you ask, and then the theory and the drive that you have in yourself. I'm really sorry. I'm transit right now. I never knew this was going to coincide with another event, but I'm really happy to be here. I'll continue to listen in until I take off, and when I do land, I'll be happy to join in again. Thank you so much, Babalola. If there's any question, I'm happy to take them now, or if you want them after, you can always send me. I've put my LinkedIn profile there. You can always send me a message, add me up, send me a message. I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you so much, Babalola. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Abiola. Thanks for taking the time to join in. And like I mentioned, you can see that his profile is really very heavy. So please, if you do have any questions, we would do it this way. Please type them up in the chat so that he can begin to respond to them. At the end of the profiles, we would also have a opportunity for you to ask those questions directly. So please take note of your questions. If you have any questions at all, for example, how did he join NNPC? Did he need to bribe anybody? I'm sure he will be happy to answer you. All right. Okay. Thank you. So like I said, if you have questions, please type them up in the chat. And then we would have the opportunity to answer them during the panel discussion. Okay, so I have the second person who will be sharing with us their profile. Is also another very seasoned professional. I'll hand over to Temitope Adeyinka to give you his profile and tips on what you would like to hear. Yeah.